What's going on, guys? Give me 1 second. Let me fix a few things in Discord here. All right, welcome back to another Power Hour stream. We're going to go over SPY price action. We're going to go over Bitcoin price action. I still have not been live calling in the morning or live trading in the morning. Still trying to get these bots up and running for crypto as soon as possible. My goal is to get at least 2 to 4 of these bots up and running on crypto so I can focus on day trading the futures on SPY. And over this weekend, I was hoping to have the first bot for crypto finished, but it was just becoming a nightmare trying to get the strategy to where I wanted it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to recode it on TradingView because I'm very familiar with the coding on TradingView. It's like the only platform that I am comfortable coding. So I'm recoding it on TradingView. I've actually made a lot of progress. It's basically almost finished. I have to put in the non-repeating signals. I have to put in the stop loss. And then once that is done, I'm going to convert it into a strategy on TradingView. Once that is done, I'm going to hook up the alerts, and then basically it's finished. So a little bit more work. Probably should have it done within the next few days or maybe the next week. But yeah, so basically what I figured was, since I'm already comfortable with TradingView, just going to recode the strategies one by one on TradingView, turn them into alerts, and then push them out towards Alertatron. Alertatron will have them live trade. That's the goal. For today, I'm going to release that experimental indicator that I've been working on, that I showed you guys, basically the relative volume moving average. I'm going to release that later today for all the Discord members. So as long as you guys have access to the Discord, you guys will see access to that indicator by the end of today. All right, that's the recap of basically what I've been doing the past couple of days. What's going on, Josh? BlockTech, good to see you guys. Sorry, just answering some messages real fast and we'll get started. Hey, man. Yeah, it probably just had a little bit of a lag. All right, I think we are good to go. Sorry, guys. It always happens, man. I'll have like no messages, and then everybody will message me around like 2:30, and I got to answer a bunch of messages right before stream. It's funny, but no worries on that. So This is actually the first time or second time I've looked at the chart today. For SPY, I had one little call out here on Discord. I marked out the value area high, which I mentioned in Discord. We were most likely going to shift the value area up to the top, which we did, and then you saw a breakout of the high, and now we're kind of just resting on that high. But what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna replay the whole day, and we're gonna kind of show how you could have traded today. So today was a very simple day. Basically, the longs were kicking ass. If you weren't long, you were losing money. Let me go back a little bit here. So right on the start of the day, let's gap up here. So we have the gap up, pretty massive gap up. I think it's about a 3%. Yeah, about 2.5% gap up here. Let me zoom in. We're going to let this thing run until like 10:30. Get some data. I typically don't trade in the morning because I want to see a little bit of data before I start trading. Okay, here's 10. Let's go till 10:30. Let's let it run a little bit. Actually, the first thing I wanted to note here, I called this out in Discord, not while it was happening, but after the fact. But you can see, you guys know my bulldog pattern. Very beautiful bulldog here. Double bottom, pop up, a little bit of a pullback, and let's see how it plays out. Where is my play button here? Yeah, there's the pullback. Then you start to break out here. You're above VWAP. So basically right here, let me delete this stuff. Let's go back a little bit. So here's your bulldog, right? You have that double bottom, pop up, pullback. You're maintaining above the POC, maintaining above VWAP. Those are your first signs of it's looking very bullish. The first thing you want to watch for is that value area high. Hey, what's going on, Moneybag Man and Digital? Good to see you guys. Yeah, the first thing you want to look for is that value area high, which is right here. So pretty balanced for today. Nice little balance you have going on here. You have a little bit of volume outside that high, but pretty much a standard balance. But because we saw that massive gap up from the previous day, you wanted to be more inclined to be bullish here, right? You didn't immediately go for that gap fill, so you're basically looking to be bullish. Turn the music up a little bit. The value area high is basically where you want to start looking for that next kind of breakout attempt. Let's see how it plays here. So you're resisting the value area high, but then you start to find some volume here. Look at the momentum. Momentum's climbing, price is climbing. Start pushing into a new high of day. So you have a new high of day here. So now that you have a new high of day, you really want to watch this value area high here to see if it's going to act as support or if we're going to see a deviation, right? So keep an eye on this value area high. I think we're continuing to shift. So it's going to continue to shift higher here while price breaks out. And like I told you guys, when price is breaking out into like new highs or new lows, you really don't want to trade against it unless you have some kind of signal, right? So unless you have a bear div here, you don't want to trade against this move. So another thing to note here, make sure you're paying attention to your value area high. But another thing you want to see here, look at this gap. You have a small gap right here. So if you do form a bear div, which you kind of are forming currently, if you do start to form a bear div and you start to roll over, that gap will be your first line of support, right? So let's say you form a bear div here and you start to pull back. You want to see an immediate bounce off that gap. You do not want to see that gap being lost. If it is lost, you still have that line of support at your value area high, but that gap needs to hold if you want to continue this breakout here. Let's keep an eye on it. So no bear div just yet. There's the bear div that starts to come in. You see these red bars right here? The red bars start to confirm that bear div. So you had the bear div forming. When you have the red bars right here and right here, this confirms your bear div. You start to kind of break out after the bear div. But then you start to play out. So it scared you for a little bit if you did take that short, but it is starting to play out now. Let's see if it plays out. Okay, so now, if you took that short, you're most likely going to get stopped out here. Because if you're taking a bear div short, what I typically do is I'll put my stop loss above that high. Because if you're on a bear div, you should not be breaking into a new high. Unless you're forming like a triple peak bear div, which in that case, I still would most likely stop out and then re-enter the trade. So very likely you would have got stopped out here. Let's see if it plays out. Yeah, so you would have got stopped out, definitely. You would have been targeting that gap. You would have got stopped out here on your short. That shows you that this is very bullish. Okay, so another thing to note here. You have a gap right here. You still have the value area. Actually, the value area high is basically the gap now. So your value area high is right here, and then your gap is just above it. Another thing to note, look at this. Why does it not let me draw? Look at this support coming in here. You see that support coming in? What that's basically telling you is there's a lot of price action during this kind of like 294.8. This little distribution that you're seeing right here. It's a lot of price action right there, a lot of value. So another thing, if you pull back towards that value, which would be that point of origin, you have that point of origin right there, which lines up perfectly with that value. If you pull back towards that point of origin, you should bounce basically right off of it. Let's keep an eye on it. So here comes that test. You're kind of front running it a little bit there. That's a good sign. The point of origin is basically the bottom of that node. You still have all that volume towards the top of that node that you're bouncing off of. Actually, something that I did not note here. Look at this gap. You're actually bouncing right off that gap. I did not see that. You do have a little gap right there. You see that gap? So I missed that, but you do have a small gap that you're bouncing out of, which is front running the volume node a little bit. So basically the same technique that we were looking for back on this gap is what's playing out currently. So now you're coming back to retest that volume node. Let's see if it holds. So far holding, a little choppy, but so far holding. Okay, now it's getting a little scary. One thing to note, look at your value area. Your value area has shifted right to where you're testing. So if this is going to remain bullish, this needs to hold here. One thing to note, this is on lunchtime, so if you're not in a trade, you would not be taking this trade. Well, I would not be taking this trade. I don't trade lunchtime. Lunchtime is a little choppy, as you can see. Okay, so right here, major event. Major event here, your value area has completely shifted. This is very bullish. You are finding a lot of value towards this upper range. Okay. So now your value area is the high of day. Your value area low is the is a little bit higher than your open, right? It's down here towards 2935. But you're seeing a massive shift in value here. The one thing to note, even if you do pull back here, you are still bullish. So you're forming more of a P shape instead of a D shape. Okay, you have that value, that volume towards the high. This is kind of more of a B shape than a P shape because you have double value. But what this day is kind of showing you is you had an accumulation or a distribution, if you will, because you gapped up. Now you're breaking out into a new distribution. So you kind of have that double range day. And like I always tell you guys, if you are looking to short the highs or buy the lows in a day like this, your target is always that gap, right? That middle gap. You have a middle gap here, which is still that kind of line in the sand where you need to find support. But if you do fail this gap here and you do fail VWAP, you're still bullish because you have that value area low down here, which you would be looking to buy. Anything kind of between your value area low and your daily open, you would be looking to buy that. You also could buy the retest of the gap and VWAP as well. Because today is very bullish, you could buy a little higher than standard. But okay, let's let this play out a little bit. So very crucial right here. If this is happening live and you're watching this live, this is a very crucial retest because you're retesting your point of control, which is on your high, right? It's on your distribution up here. So if this started to fail this point of control pretty much on the retest, then you're definitely looking to short that into your VWAP. Hey, Sneaky, what's going on? Fortunate, what's going on, guys? Sneaky said, we have a vaccine. We're saved. Long 20x leverage, 310 SPY, 522 calls. Is there a vaccine? I didn't see any news on that. Let me get back to that in a second. Let's keep going here. Okay, so this is crucial. Watch this POC retest. If this starts to fail here, very likely you're going to retest this gap down here. There's your POC failure. Let's see if you hit the gap. You're not hitting the gap. This should show you that it's very bullish. All of these dips are being bought up very quickly. There's your breakout of POC. So very bullish here. So basically, if you see this live, this isn't a trade that I would take because I don't take trades like this. I typically look for trades based on the value area, based on the high and the low. But if you were, let's say you were already up a lot on the day and you were looking for kind of some lower probability trades, but you were looking for still decent trades. This is a decent trade, but it's a lower probability. If you see a break of the POC like this and you're seeing these dips being bought up relentlessly, you could take this trade and target a high of day break, but it's going to be a lower probability trade. So here you go. So if you took that trade, if you took that breakout of the POC, you would be taking profit here. If you had multiple contracts, you would take profit on at least like half or some of your contracts, and then you would be looking to hold the rest of them until you see a bear div or some kind of failure of the high of day. Okay, so here is where I'd probably start to look to close the rest of my contracts because you're seeing that momentum start to shift towards the downside. You would have taken the trade probably around the break of the high right here, so somewhere around this candle. Let's just say like the mid of the candle. So you would have targeted the high of day, which would have been about 5 to 6 points, which is about $300. Now you're not really in a trade. You could have taken the short on the high of day failure. So once you kind of broke out here and you saw that bear div start to form and your momentum started to roll over, you could have taken a short here. But like I told you guys, on a day like today, when you have a lot of volume towards the high and you're seeing the dips being bought up pretty quickly, you want to be careful shorting the high of day or shorting the tops, right? You're better off waiting to buy the dips. It's going to give you a higher probability trade. So as you can see, it's already starting to buy back up. This is why you want to be careful shorting highs. It's just way too bullish of a day to try to short every top. Now you're putting in a new distribution. So you have like a triple distribution today. You gapped up, you distributed a little bit here, you broke the high of the distribution, you formed a new distribution, you broke the high again, and now you're forming another one. So today is very bullish. So levels to watch here is if you fail downward, you have a massive support here around the POC. You've got a slight gap right here below the distribution low. But that's basically it. You've got a little minor support around 29522, but your main support is the POC. So those are the areas you would be looking to buy the dip. The gap and the two high volume nodes. Another high of daybreak here. Massive bear div though. Look at that bear div that came in. So this tried to break into a new high. You probably could have taken this trade because the bear div was so significant. But it still would be quite risky shorting the high of day. You had a massive bear div here. Once this got confirmed on this candle, you could have shorted that. Let's see how it would have played out. So if you did short that, same thing. Same thing. You would be targeting the gap. You would be targeting your POC and VWAP. The gap is being front run. and you're already back above the distribution. Like I said, very bullish day. Be very careful selling the highs. That one would have been a decent short. So that would have been a trade where, same as before, if I was already up a lot on the day and I was looking for some trades that weren't very high probability but were still decent trades, I would have taken that trade. I think we're caught up to live here. Yeah, so we've caught up to live. You did actually test that gap. So you just tested that gap, and you basically bounced off that gap to the tick. So if you were able to close your short there, you would have closed at least half. You could let the other half run, but you would have closed a piece there. Man said, what is the reason behind gaps acting as support? So the basics behind volume profile, like auction theory, tell you that the gaps are areas of rejection. Those are prices that are being rejected. They're not being traded at. So if you have an area of rejection and you're breaking above that area and you come back to retest it, you want it to be rejected to the upside. So to reject that price, you bounce off of it. Now, you can also reject it to the downside where you go something like this. And that's very bearish, right? So if you're looking for a bullish trade, you want it to be rejected to the upside. So if you're in a short right here, you would take profit here. If you're not in a short and you're looking to buy the dips, you would buy the dip there. It's just basic auction theory. So these are areas of acceptance. These are areas of rejection. Prices are rejecting those areas. Very similar to like breakers. If you're an order block trader, it's very similar to like a breaker setup. Yeah, so you have a gap right here. I'll move this over. And then you still have a gap right here as well. Man said rejection in terms of people don't want to sell there in case of support. Yeah, so basically the sellers are rejecting that price. They don't want to sell there. And the buyers are accepting that price and bouncing it off of it. So basically, this node is an area of acceptance. This is an area of rejection. So what's happening here is prices falling down. The buyers are buying this. The sellers are not selling. That's why you see the price bounce back up. Then it bounces back up. But because this is an area of acceptance, the sellers are accepting that price and selling. And they're selling again and selling again and selling again. But then it goes lower. And it gets back to that price where the sellers are not accepting that price. And the buyers are buying it. And it's bouncing upward. So this is a very good topic. Let me go over something that I showed you guys in Discord over the weekend, which played out to perfection. If you guys watched my analysis over the weekend on Bitcoin, exactly what we thought was going to happen, happened. So let me pull this up so it's not in hindsight, so you can see exactly how it looked back when I called it out. So here was the screenshot that I used for the analysis, and then here is the updated one. And let's go over what I was saying. So for the crypto traders here, you can use these techniques that I teach in volume profile every day for crypto as well. It's actually very helpful. So what I said, and I'll quote this from Discord. Where is my message here? Okay, here it is. I said, another thing to note, because I posted a bunch of analysis before this. value did not shift upward during yesterday's close. Therefore, if price falls below 9733, I'm going to go over all these levels. If price falls below 9733, then 9334 is likely to be tested, or at least 9516. Now you're probably thinking, where the hell am I getting these levels from? So what I was saying was, look at what we see here. We see a massive distribution, right? So we see a breakout, and then we see a distribution. You can see the distribution happening from all 4 of these days. You have a little bit of distribution on the top, a little bit of support on the bottom, and then you kind of have a double distribution here. Okay, this day is very important. Because what are we seeing? We're seeing a P shape, which is bullish, but then it failed downward. Then we're seeing a balanced profile, which is neutral, which found support on the next day towards the bottom. So this is a support day, right? So you have a balanced day, you find a little bit of support, and then you break out the next day, okay? So this day is very important because what do we see? You started here, you ended here. You find value above your value area high. So this is your value area high of your previous day, which is basically telling you that anything above 9460 was not value. That was being rejected. This is what I call exhaustion. So price was trying to break out. It was being exhausted. Okay. So what did we see during the open of the next day? We were seeing acceptance of that previous level that was being exhausted. The bulls were getting stronger here. Okay. So then they broke out to the upside and they tried to find value around 9,800. But look at the value area. The value area does not shift towards the upside like we're seeing on the SPY, right? So on the SPY, you break out to the upside and the value area shifts to the upside. That is very bullish. You did not see that on Bitcoin. The value, or sorry, the price broke out to the upside, but the value did not. So that was your first sign of bearish pressure. So then the next day started to form. And what I said was, if price loses the value area high, 9733, it is very likely to retest 9334. At least it should test 9516. So you lost 9733. First take profit was the POC here. Second take profit was the value area low. And then you bounced right off of that level, and then you went back to the high. And that's what we're currently seeing. You bounced right off of 9334, and now you're bouncing up again. So if you were looking at this on a like a weekly basis, this would be a gap. Because you're not finding a lot of value, except for kind of this day right here. But you would have a lot of value right here. You'd have a lot of value down here. But this little area in between would be a gap. So what do you want to see for gaps if you're bullish? Like I just told you guys, if you fail down to a gap and you're bullish, it should bounce right off of that gap. And that's exactly what we saw. So exactly what I just said on SPY. If you have a gap here, you want to see it fail downward and bounce off of it. So if you're short, you take profit there. If you're not in a trade, you can look to long there. So where does that line up on Bitcoin? It lines up at 9334. If you're short, you take profit. If you're not short and you're looking to long, you can buy there. That would have been your perfect take profit for your short, and it would have been your perfect entry for a long. Okay? If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. That is a very standard technique for volume profile. Once again, what are we seeing? Exactly what we kind of just saw on Bitcoin. You failed down to the gap, bounced right out of it. Now we're looking for more value. So on days like today, like I said, very risky to short the highs. You want to just play the breakouts, play the dips. Now for Bitcoin, I posted my new analysis. I'm not going to talk about it on stream because I did post it in Discord. But go back and look at my volume profile stuff that I posted. Those are the new levels that you are watching. You guys have any questions about anything? We have about 30 minutes until the daily close. And you guys can use these techniques, the volume profile techniques that I teach, in any market that has volume, right? So Forex, you can use it if the market provides volume data. Now, I've found in a lot of Forex markets that they don't provide volume data. Same thing with commodities markets. Sometimes they don't provide volume data. If you don't have volume data, you can't trade these techniques, obviously. Also, I had another question in Discord about what this is. This is the same thing as volume profile, but it's on a time-based. It's coloring the profile based on a time period, right? So it's market profile. You guys have probably seen this in a different form where it's a bunch of letters. So it'll be like A's all the way down, B's, C's, D's. You've probably seen that before. That's market profile. Same as this. So instead of using letters, it's just using colors. So at the start of the profile, it's using the darker colors for me. And then towards the end of the profile, it's using the pinks. And then at the very end of the profile, it's coloring it blue. So it goes kind of like black and gray to the pinks and purples to the blue. So it kind of shows you how the profile was developing. So like on this day, it was very bullish because the start of the day was down here. You had a lot of volume towards the high here, but sadly it was not able to continue higher and then it fell downward. You see Boeing today? No, I actually have not. I haven't seen like any stocks today. I called out a lot of stocks in the morning on my scanners, which was very surprising. I have a scanner that scans for companies that are over 5 billion, so big companies. And let me see, when I called it out, look at how many of these companies that were running. 23 of these companies were running. That's very rare. Typically, we'll see 5, maybe 10. These things are running. Royal Caribbean, United Airlines, hotels, Carnival, Delta, basically all the economy or the hospitality stocks were running today. The airlines, the hotels, the cruise lines. So it seems like the market believes that we are truly reopening. But yeah, let me take a look at Boeing. Yeah, massive move here. Closed the day at 119 on Friday. All the way up to 135 today. How big of a move is that? 13%. That's actually awesome. Yeah, my brother has a big position in Boeing. So he'll be happy about that. How'd Disney do? He's also got a big position in Disney. Oh yeah, he's happy today. 10% on Disney, 10% on Boeing. He's doing all right. Kala, SSYS are still killing it. My next big runner is going to be ARDX. Let me take a look. I'll pull them up on our Webull. See if I'm logged in. I don't think I am. I have it set to log me out. Just for security reasons. right, here we go. Do I have these on my watch list? I don't think I've moved them over yet. No, so let's pull them up here. What are you looking at? You're looking at Kala again. Let's take a look. How good is Kala doing? Oh yeah, broke all these levels that we marked out. Up to 1240. This is up a lot since you called it out. You called it out probably like, what, a month ago? Around like probably $7 to $8. Yeah, this thing's kicking ass. Very, very good call. SSYS was another one you called out. Let's take a look. Not as good as Kala, but still doing very well. Very nice day today. Had a little bit of a sell-off last week, but it recovered pretty strongly. It's getting ready to break out. You can see on the CCI. Still in a downtrend on that 200, though. ARDX. I think we talked about ARDX as well. 768. Not bad. Nice little V reversal here. Also looking to break out on the CCI. Short term strong. Anything above $7 looks good. Kind of had like a cup and handle failure here. A little bit of a triple top. You're back above that distribution. You still have that distribution high around like 830. You get above 830, it should be pretty good here. Let's take a look at some of our scanners. Micro Pharma, massive moves today. So like I've been telling you guys, on these scanners that we built on Webull, days like today are exactly what you want to look for. Those really strong growth days in the SPY, right? So when the SPY does very well, it's very green. The penny stocks, the micro pharma, they are going to run because people have confidence in those trades, right? So a lot of these pharma companies, I called out a lot of these in the start of the day. These are the ones that I called out. 22 stocks on the start of the day. It's at 53 now. So there are a lot of runners today in the micro pharma sector. These are the kind of stocks that if you guys have a very high risk tolerance, if you guys like day trading, I would look to trade micro pharma, look to trade penny stocks. You can see these are a lot of shit. Like if this was crypto, these would be shit coins. So you don't want to hold these overnight. You don't want to hold them over the weekend. These are for day trading. These are for like, if they're above $1, you're looking for like 10-cent moves. 15-cent moves, 20-cent moves, not a lot. You're getting in, you're getting out. Now here, yeah, look at this. This is disgusting. When I called this out in the morning, there was 23 stocks on this scanner. There are 137 now. These are all big companies, over 5 billion market cap. Biggest company, Biotech, Delta Air, Continental Southwest. So a lot of the airlines, Boeing. These are big, big companies. Yeah, Viacom's on here. Viacom's huge. Deutsche Bank. Capital One, a lot of finance. Honeywell's on here. Wells Fargo. Citigroup. Yeah, basically everything's running right now. Penny stocks, same thing. Massive movers here. 77% on this one. Let's take a look at this one. It's called Oasis too. That's funny. Hey, Bitmass, appreciate the resub, man. Back for 3 months. Welcome back, man. One of our new subs. Sticking around. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Happy to have you around, man. This company looked like it was just in a massive accumulation. Now you're breaking out of it. You had a massive gap up on, I think that's yesterday. That's today. Yeah, gapped up right on the start of the day from 430 up to 560. then you ran to $8. Look at this. Let's take a look at this on the 1 minute. So here you go. So if you guys watched my Webull penny stock video, I talked about this technique where you have these gap ups, you have these really strong penny stock moves, and if you miss the initial breakout, you kind of wait for that pullback towards the 50, and then if it holds the 50, it will typically go for a second breakout. So this one, it faked you out a little bit, you broke the 50, and then you got right back above it. So you wouldn't have taken this trade until right around here when you started to break out of that 50. You can see right around here, the red line is the 50. It's a 50 moving average, right? And then you start to break out, you consolidate towards the 50 again, break out again. Same thing here, consolidate towards the 50, break out again. You will see this time and time again on penny stocks. Break out, consolidate into the 50, break out again. Now, same technique on the 5 minute, but you would be using a lower moving average, which is the 12. So, like I told you guys, back when I told you guys my 12 moving average technique, 12 is a really good number because if you use the 12 on a 5 minute, it's giving you a 1 hour. It's giving you a 1 hour average, right? It's going back and giving you an hour worth of price action. If you use it on a 1 hour, it's giving you half the day of an average, right? Or if you're looking at crypto. And if you're not looking at crypto, it's giving you 12 hours of price action on the stock market. So nearly a day and a half about. Yeah, very helpful on the 5 minute because it's giving you an hour's worth of data, which is going to be nearly the same exact level as the 50 on the 1 minute. The 50 on the 1 minute, obviously, quick math, is going to give you 50 minutes, right? And the 12 on the 5 minute is going to give you an hour. So it's going to be very identical to that. Notice how it tried to break out here. Same technique. You pulled back towards the 50. You tried to break out again, but now we're kind of failing a little bit. Digital said, I'm calling ARDX to be over $10 in under 4 months. AR. Yeah, I could see that. It has a really nice uptrend, really nice V reversal. If it gets back above this distribution high, there's nothing stopping it from going higher. This is a very good strat. This is, if you guys watch my accumulation distribution video, this is giving you a buy signal. Basically, once you reclaimed $7, it's giving you a buy signal. Because you have a distribution, you failed the distribution, you reclaimed the distribution, and it turned into a deviation, right? So you distributed, failure, reclaim. Long story short, it's reclaiming a support. You have a support right here. It's reclaiming the support around $7, and now you're just waiting for the breakout. Look at the CCI. CCI is getting ready to break out. Like I told you guys, if you guys don't want to pay any money for indicators, if you guys want to use free indicators, I think the CCI is the strongest free indicator there is, besides like VWAP and stuff, but those are a different category. If you're looking for like a free oscillator, I don't think there's an oscillator that's stronger than a 50 CCI. If you guys are longtime viewers of mine, it's one of the main strategies that I used to teach like 2 years ago. $50 CCI breakouts are exceptionally strong. You can see what it caused here. You had that breakout, confirmation on the CCI, you ran. The default, I believe, is 20, something like that. Put it to 50. It will do you much better. Let's get back to the market here. We got about 12 minutes left on the trading day. Massive breakout here, actually, towards the end of the day. That gap played to perfection. So once again, we have another gap. So just keep doing this all the way up. So now you have a new breakout. You have a new gap. So if this pulled back, you want to see support on the gap. The beautiful thing about volume profile trading, as you guys have seen throughout our, the last month of streaming, it's very repetitive. It's the same patterns day in, day out. It's the same technique. So if you're somebody who likes that kind of repetition of just looking for the same exact thing every single day, volume profile trading is going to give you that. Because, like I told you guys already, there's not a lot of different profiles. There's the D shape, which is the most common, the balance. There's the P shape, which is slightly bullish, right? There's the lowercase b, which is slightly bearish, and then the uppercase b. Besides that, there's not really any other categories of days. All of the other kind of choppy days can fit into one of those categories. So as long as you have a trading technique for all 4 of those days, you will be able to adapt to basically any day on the market, right? So here comes your failure of the high of day. Another thing you can watch, like I told you guys, if you're breaking out, you can have some short-term moving averages. You can see the green and the blue. These are my short-term. If you're a moving average trader, when you start to break out and find value, you can watch your short-term moving averages to see when the momentum is shifting. I don't like moving average trading. I feel like it's very delayed. It's very laggy for my style of trading. I like looking at them to kind of determine my trend, but I don't like taking trades based off of them. Okay, so here is your first test of this gap. Let's see if the gap holds. So far, the gap is holding. It hasn't been tested spot on, but being front ran a little bit. Look at the Momo, though. Look at the Momo at the bottom of the screen. Massive bear div here. Triple peak bear div on the high. That's why that 1-minute rejection was so powerful. That is probably the strongest 1-minute rejection we've seen all day. Still kind of playing around that gap. This is the last 8 minutes of the day, so you're going to see a lot of choppy price action here. Digital said BitMEX is being sued for money laundering. Just read the story. They're being sued by so many different people, and none of the lawsuits have any credibility, really. I haven't seen the money laundering one though. Who is suing them for the money laundering? All the ones that try to sue them for like the market making shit, where they like scam pump and they scam dump, you're never gonna win those lawsuits. Money laundering though, that's a different topic. They could get a slap on the wrist for that for sure. But who is suing them? Is it just like a random trader, or is it like a corporation? Is it the government? The gap is being tested here. Like I said, though, it's the end of the day. So volume profile techniques are not going to take precedence here. So like I said, guys, later today, I'm going to have that experimental indicator posted, and it will be available to you guys. If you are a member of the Discord and you don't have access to it by the end of the day, make sure to message me. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have all of you, but if I miss you, just go ahead and message me and be like, hey, man, you might have missed me. Can you double check? I missed a couple of people on the last indicator, so just make sure to let me know. Sometimes it's usually just a typo because TradingView is case sensitive. I have to manually put in all of your usernames one by one, case sensitive. So it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, if I miss you, once I post it in Discord, just let me know. Also, we haven't already, but what I'm planning on doing later this week, this will be a first for the Discord, is we will be offering a monthly on the Discord, which we basically we never planned on doing. But instead of the trial, which right now we are offering a 1-month trial, and then the trial upgrades into the full-time, we're gonna take away the trial and just turn it into a monthly. The same exact price, $50. And then if you do the monthly and you want to upgrade, we'll do the same exact thing we did for the trial, and we'll take the $50 off. But if you don't want to upgrade, you can just keep paying the $50 for the monthly. So we're going to test that out for a little bit. Probably take it away in the future, but we'll test it out. I was hoping to have these bots finished before we switch to the monthly, but it's going to take me a while to have these bots finished, so. I have to recode all the bots one by one. You said it's BMA LLC, Bitcoin Manipulation Abatement. Yeah, see that? I think you're talking about the one that I read about. I don't think it has any credibility. Yeah, they're like a meme, dude. They basically sue everybody just hoping that they'll win and they'll get ridiculous money. The lawsuit that you're talking about, they are, for damages, they are requesting the entire insurance fund of BitMEX. It's a meme, dude. They're basically just throwing out lawsuits, hoping somebody will take them and they'll get some kind of money out of it. It's a joke. It's just a bunch of sue-happy bullshit. So we blew through the first gap. Here comes the second gap. Let's see how the second gap holds. Three minutes left on the day. Digital said, I wonder how much money BitMEX has in the bank. Oh, it's probably disgusting. Their insurance fund alone is billions of dollars, I'm pretty sure. Or not billions, sorry, it's millions. It's hundreds of millions. It might actually be over $1 billion. What is the insurance fund at? Does anybody know? I know it's at least hundreds of millions. I don't know if it's over $1 billion, though. Knowing BitMEX, it probably is over $1 billion. It's 35,444 Bitcoin. Jesus. What's Bitcoin at currently? Bitcoin is, let's just say 97. What'd you say? 35,444? Okay, so it's not near a billion yet. It's 343 million, which is actually ridiculous. 343 million in just their insurance fund. Here comes VWAP, failed the second gap. Pretty strong sell-off during the end of the day here. Probably just people taking profit because it had such a massive run today. Oh, you said, and they're getting larger. I think they'll get bought out eventually, maybe by a bank. I doubt it because it's kind of a shady business. BitMEX has always been a little shady. I don't think they'd get bought out by any like legit company. Why would you sell the golden goose? Exactly, yeah. I think the only reason Arthur would ever sell or like get out of it is if he felt like the SEC or some other government was kind of like breathing down their neck and he just wanted to cash out. That's the only reason I could see him cashing out. BitMEX is a very interesting topic because if you look at them in a sense of like market share, right? How much of the market they have a large percentage of the market of like margin traders, right? Of retail margin traders. But then again, if you compare them to their competitors, tech-wise, they're dog shit. BitMEX tech-wise, like how their platform performs, is probably one of the worst in the business. But they still have like the largest percentage of traders. I think after the massive liquidation down to 3K, I think they lost a very large percentage of their traders. I think OKX has more traders now. They have more volume, I believe. Somebody can correct me. But yeah, I feel like tech-wise, with all the overloads and everything, they're like leagues behind their other traders. And like people say all the time on Twitter, like Bybit, Bybit's the main one. You also have like Deribit. They have better platforms for the most part. Even like Deribit, they offer options, right? Yeah, man, you bring up a good point, man. The man says, I kind of disagree. If you throw the amount of volume that BitMEX does to any other exchange, it would probably die. Now, I kind of agree with that. That's a good point. So BitMEX has the most issues because they have the most volume. Now, if these other exchanges had the same volume, would they hold up? That's a good question. Digital said, I think BitMEX is probably legit, but I think Binance is a giant coin mixer and it's running illegal operations. And I think Binance has maybe the best UI or top 3. I loved Binance until they kicked all the US traders out. It's funny as hell because they were like the top altcoin exchange for a long time, right? They probably still are, I'm not sure. But they were doing everything by the book, basically. Everything was going well, going good. And then they kicked off US citizens, and they just had shadiness after shadiness after shadiness. They were doing all kinds of shady bullshit after they kicked the US traders off. They were getting hit with scandal after scandal on Twitter, with all this shady. Now I don't remember it. I don't remember every case off the top of my head. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, though. But after they kicked off the US citizens, it was like they just went completely downhill. It's funny as hell because all these other altcoin exchanges are trying to revive, right? Like Bittrex. That's the first ever exchange that I traded on. Was Bittrex for crypto. And I thought they were dead, but they're trying to bring themselves back now. The only exchange currently that I have money on, well, 2 exchanges. I've got money on Coinbase, and I've got money on BitMEX. Those are the only 2 exchanges that I really trust right now. And trust is a really strong word with BitMEX. I trust Coinbase. I couldn't see Coinbase ever doing anything. I think they're regulated too strongly. But BitMEX, trust is a strong word. Like I've always told you guys, if anything really shady came out about BitMEX and they were like taking people's money or anything like that, or exit scamming, we would have a much, much bigger problem than our money on that exchange. You know what I mean? The crypto market as a whole would be taking a dive if the largest margin exchange was getting exit scammed. Digital said, did you know you can open an unlimited amount of accounts with fake names and emails, and even unverified accounts can withdraw 2 Bitcoin, which means you can make 50 accounts and move out 100 Bitcoin daily. Are you talking about Binance? Coinbase and Kraken are heavily regulated. Yeah, I trust Coinbase with my money. I have a pretty decent amount of money on Coinbase right now. I sold basically all of my crypto, and it's just sitting on Coinbase. So I need to withdraw it. I'll probably do that here in the next few days. Yeah, you're talking about Binance, yeah. Yeah, a lot of the exchanges are like that, where they allow you to... They're like, oh, you got a KYC, but the KYC is bullshit. It's like, who the fuck needs to withdraw 2 Bitcoin a day? Why would you need to withdraw $20,000 a day? Like, what kind of account are you running? And you got to think about that. Anybody who needs to withdraw over 2 Bitcoin a day, you probably want to be KYC'd. So you have some kind of protection, right? What's your Discord? If you go to oasistrading.io/Discord, I think I have a command. Oh, you're on YouTube. There's no commands on YouTube. I can grab a link for you. But it is a private Discord. So you're probably thinking it's public, but it's not public. We are a premium Discord. Here is the link. I actually am getting ready to create a monthly plan, which is the same as the trial. Yeah, so there's our Discord. It's $100 off right now, May 100. We also have a trial. If you sit on that Discord page for like 30 seconds, you'll be prompted with a trial. You can check that out as well. Moneybag, what did you say? Went negative in AH? What's AH? Oh, after? You're talking about after hours. I got you. Sorry. Yeah, the sell-off's pretty strong here. Digital said, but I think there's another Silk Road running in the deep web somewhere, and Binance is being used to mix their coins with legit transactions without any KYC. I thought they were forcing KYC now. I thought when they started to kick US citizens out, they were forcing it. Sorry, there's a fire truck going by. It's totally fake KYC? Okay, so it's bullshit? Gotcha. Yeah, like I said, when they started doing that whole kick US citizens off, it was a big scam, basically. They were trying to make themselves look like they were by the book and they were following the rules. But then they were more by the book before they kicked U.S. citizens off compared to after. They got into a bunch of bullshit after that. But all right, guys, I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I got to post the new indicator. Hopefully, I'm going to get a lot of the work done on this first bot today. Like I said, I already recoded most of it. I can actually show you guys. I think I can show you. Give me 1 second. I can show you guys what I have done already. Yeah, I think I can show you here. Let me turn this off. So this is going to be our 15-minute Bitcoin bot. I know you guys can't see. I'm going to pull it up here. Definitely not finished yet. I've got a lot of stuff. I got to get rid of the repeating signals, add in the stop loss, do all that jazz. But this is the one that I've been showing off in Discord, which I can actually show you right here on TrendSpider. Let me run the test. This is very similar to the one that I made way back in the day, but I added a lot of tweaks to it. This is how it's doing the past 2 months. The past 2 months, it's up 38% about, while Bitcoin is only up 6%. It is a bullish breakout strategy, so you can see that it buys the breakouts, and it buys the fake breakouts as well. And then it tries to stay in as long as possible. So it's a long-only bot. It only looks to buy breakouts. That's why the win percentage is very low. It's only 30%. It's going to lose a lot of the trades, but the R2R is very good. The average gain is 3.7%. The average loss is 0.8%. That's over a 3.0. I've been running this, not running it, but I've been testing it for the past like maybe 4 to 6 months. And it's been around 30 to 40% gains each time that I've tested it. It can only go back 2 months. So each 2 months, it's about 30 to 40% gains, which is exceptional. So I didn't have a lot of time back then to code it, but now I am coding it. We're coding it back into TradingView. I'm going to get these repeating signals turned off. I'm going to get the stop loss put in. I'm going to attach it to a real account. I'm going to throw $500 into the account, make sure it's doing everything I want it to do. If it's working out, we'll throw some more money at it. This is going to be relayed to Discord, so every time this thing takes a trade, you'll be alerted. Now I have 4 bots. All 4 of those bots are going to be relayed to Discord, but I have to build them one by one, so it's going to take me some time to get these put into Discord. But when I do, I think it's gonna be fantastic, because we're not a signal group. I don't give signals. I post analysis. It's mainly focused on education. So I think having these bots running in the background will give you guys some good stuff to keep track of. But all right, guys, on that note, I am going to end stream. I appreciate you guys being here. I will be streaming again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, same time, same stream. Yeah, I'll see you guys then. That's all I got for you guys. As I said, later today, I'll be releasing that indicator. If you're in the Discord, make sure you have access by the end of today or tomorrow. If you don't have access, just give me a little message on Discord, and I'll get you added. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.